All right, we are live.
All right, you want to tweet it out and then we'll get started?
Yeah.
This is kind of tight if people are watching.
Yeah, I don't know how many people will be watching. This is only the second week we've done it like this. So.
Oh, yeah, was Nick the first?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, we didn't even do it with Nick, did we? We did like the outside segment.
Yeah, we recorded the interview with Nick, and then we did just a regular show with us three live like this.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick was cool though.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, Nick's a good dude.
Yeah.
Good dude.
He pitched pretty good in the opener too. He just ran into an absolute unit of a opposing pitcher. Got through a complete game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like no hitter through 7.
Yeah. So basically, Nick's offense didn't help him out at all.
He was a little bit. He was leaving his breaking stuff up.
buddies.
It was a little flat, but then he got real hot. I think he did like 11 in a row, retired or something.
Do you remember did you guys talk about his debut at all?
Yes, we definitely did.
Where he's wearing pajama pants.
Through 7 perfect or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, he said he was. The only thing he was mad about that was that they wore those hideous throwback uniforms. So now his best game, every time he looks back at his best game, it'll be him wearing pajama pants.
Especially because, like, in the minor leagues, you have such terrible uniforms. Like, pants, the jerseys don't match the colors of the pants. Like, there's so much stuff, and you get to the big leagues, and like the jerseys are all fitted to you, and they're like comfortable, and to get to the big leagues, and then have to wear that for your first outing. Like even with the Braves, you can wear your pants down until AAA. So like when I got called to the big leagues from AA, I thought I was just the shit because I could wear my pants down. Like just little things like that you forget about from like the minor leagues to the big leagues. It's great.
All right. It's tweeted out, Kevin. You can get the link from there.
All right.
Oh, this is meta. It's me watching.
So, and then I don't know how to do social media. So do I put the link? How do I add a link to my story?
So copy you copy the link, right? And then you paste it as part of do whatever comment you want at the top and then put the link at the bottom.
I think so. To be honest with you, we're live right now. I don't know how many people are watching this, so we might as well just dive in.
You won't be able to tell. So Pinwheels and Ivy, that's the podcast, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Click.
Okay, add web link.
There we go.
And Fids, let me know if this works.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll hop on.
Or somebody let me know if it works.
Yep. All right. Well, right now on your story, all I'm seeing is you singing show tune. No, wait, no, that's wrong. Sorry.
I just posted it.
Oh, there it is. Let's see you.
Yep. I got it. It worked.
Cool. Okay, you can click the link, like swipe up or something.
Yep. Took it right to the YouTube. We're all good.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Sweet.
Let's see more. Very nice.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It's the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. It's Friday, May 8th. You have found us at a great time. We are streaming live in our new service. We're trying this out. If you guys listened last week, you can find us on YouTube as the main hub, but we'll be tweeting it out. Instagram, Facebook, Spacebook, Instaface, whatever Bill Belichick calls it, all of those. But this week, we're very excited. Again, we have I think now you're officially a good friend of the show. Your second time on, so you're a good friend of the show. We have Mr. Chasen Shreve, pitcher for the New York Mets. He is been very generous with his time to us in the past, and we're very happy to have him here again. So again, welcome back, buddy. And what the show is going to be this week. We're going to talk to Chasen about what he's been doing in the off season, what he's doing to stay ready for if and when they turn the switch on and we get to go with the MLB season. And just everything in between. It's going to be a pretty free-flowing forum. For those of you watching us live, again, welcome. We appreciate it. I'm the host, Matt Zawaski, a.k.a. Southside Zoe, and with me, as always, is Aldo and K-Fids. I can point at you guys now. Yeah, with all that being said, let's tap this keg.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, welcome. We're glad to have you. And I guess the big question to kind of just start everything out here, Chasen, is what have you been doing with all your free time now?
So we do this all the time. I mean, off season, we don't have anything to do. So it's really just baseball related. It's really, so my brother and my sister-in-law just had twins about 5 days ago.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Yeah, Fizz. Kobe had his twins a couple of days ago. And she's very cautious of the coronavirus and everything that's happening. So me and my wife had a quarantine for 2 weeks. This was probably like a month ago before we could see them because she's obviously having babies and my parents are going over there to help. So they've been quarantined. So we had a quarantine for a while. I stopped throwing with like my buddy Trags that I throw with, who's with the Rays. I just throw in my backyard. So we've been dealing with that. We haven't seen anybody in a while. Just been really helping out with the twins and all that. Baseball wise, like I said, I'm throwing in my backyard. I just posted a video on my Instagram. Sent it to Fids. Fids helped me out with how to actually do it, but it was just a fastball splitter overlay just to see the difference from my fastball to my split. And that's been my biggest thing is just really throwing and keep my arm ready. My body, it's tough because the gym I go to closed down because it's also a physical therapy office. So they closed down. They're only seeing a certain amount of patients per day. So I've really just another thing I post on my Instagram is I'm squatting my wife. I'm lunging my wife just because I have no weights. Like I was working at one of my best friends Tomo's house, who we played high school with and Fizz knows well. But once I started quarantine, I couldn't even go over to his house to work out. So it's been rough. I've told my wife, I've told my brother, I've told my sister-in-law, my parents. Once we find out a hard date on when we're leaving, I will unquarantine and I'll have to go work out and get back into shape. I'm staying enough in shape where it's not going to take me long to get back to where I was when we reported to spring. I'm still running, I'm still throwing, so all that's good. I'm doing my plyo work.
So speaking of that, though, I mean, you want to break some news on Pinwheels and Ivy podcast? You guys get any hints on any dates you might be getting back at?
Honestly, you guys know more than I do because I'm not. We had a Zoom meeting the other day with the Mets. I'm not buying into any of we heard this, we heard that. I'm waiting for a hard answer. Hey, you're reporting on this date. The season started on this date because just over the years I've been in the big leagues, there's a lot of things that you see that never happen or never even started to happen. So I'm hearing, as well as I'm sure you guys, because my wife told me this, I'm hearing June 10th we report, season starts July 1st.
Yeah, that's the big one that's going around. The big dogs, Pazan and Rosenthal, said that the plan is going to be presented to the Players Union for approval. And then once that gets approval, but apparently like the Cleveland Indians are starting to call their players or their agents are calling them, telling them like, you might want to hit the gym. It's go time's about to happen. And I was just wondering if, you got anything like that from the Mets or anybody else just in your ear, but it sounds like you're you're doing the right thing. You're staying right there.
Yeah. Ever since we left, it was stay ready.
Right.
So that's what we've kind of been doing. I have heard soon. Now, who knows when soon? Well, like, I've gotten text saying we'll hear soon. So, like, is that in a week or is that in a month? You know, so it's all hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and you're dealing with everything in flux too, right? I mean, you're obviously you don't even know where it's going to be. Are you guys going to go back down to Florida? Are you guys, is it going to you're going to end up back in New York? And that's the thing that I kind of had for you too. I mean, you've been a Yankee already. You know New York. You know the city itself. For you now, you're going to be going back to a place that honestly, when the season does really kick in, if you guys go back up to New York right now, that's been like the epicenter of the entire viral outbreak. And so you're going to a place where people have gone through hell and back, which for you, like as a player, does that add like a sense of not urgency, but almost like another driving force to prepare yourself and try to be your best? Because you know you're going to be in just kind of like what we talked about with 1 October when you went out and do the first pitch or whatever. Same kind of thing where you're going to represent more than just baseball or just a team. You're going to actually be in a city that's gone through hell.
Yeah, I mean, just my friends. I mean, my friends have been like, "Oh my God, like when are sports going to be back on?" You know, like we're watching. I watched yesterday Korean baseball. Like it was just on TV on ESPN. I was like, oh, absolutely. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And like if baseball can leader in that, everybody's going to be watching. Like every team is going to be on the biggest stage. Like it's not just going to be the Yankees or the Dodgers. Like everybody that's in St. Louis has nothing to do, so they're going to watch baseball. You know, because they're all quarantined.
Special hit. Nobody in St. Louis has anything to do with it.
It's pretty boring there, huh?
It's the Chicago show.
Whoever's watching, he coached Chris Bryant.
It's the Chicago show. But no, I totally agree with you. As we've seen in previous historical events, you know, I mean, good and bad, sports seems to be the Band-Aid or the ointment that heals the wound, you know, after, and I'm not comparing the two, so everyone calm down, but after 9/11, when we saw like Sammy Sosa run out to right field with the American flag, or the Yankees game with everybody wearing NYPD hats and NYFD hats and the salute, baseball, especially baseball, has been shown to be a great healing tool to this country when basically, for lack of a better term, shit hits the fan. So I'm definitely excited, and Fids, I think that's a great point, bringing up, you know, New York being the epicenter and Chasen, you going right back into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, that's the thing that is above my pay grade. I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
Right.
Like, because the Yankees and the Mets, now if the whole thing happens where it's a 10-game East-West Central type division, a lot of people are going to be coming in and out of New York. A lot of players. We lost Fids.
Yep, it happens.
Oh, there we go. So I don't know how they're going to deal with that. I've honestly, me and Shannon and my brother and his wife and my parents, we've been staying in our own little bubble. Like I don't even know if New York is getting better at this point. That's not my job. I mean,
right.
That's the union. That's MLB. That's the owners to figure out all that stuff. And we could talk about this all day of what ifs. So that's why I kind of stay out of it until we get the hard evidence. But yeah, I mean, me and my wife can't wait to get back to New York. I mean, and like you get a taste of it in spring training where you get a good fan base and you're like, oh, this is great. We're back at it. Like, let's go. And then we had to stop. So now that it's like a tease, now we're like even more like, let's go. Let's get back to New York. Like we want the fans. Obviously that won't happen for the first however long.
Right.
But just to play again, just to be back with the boys. I mean, I truly enjoyed I was only with the Mets for 3 weeks before we got sent back, maybe a month. And I was loving it. I mean, the coaches, the players, the people I already knew that were there, like Justin Wilson, who I played with the Yankees in 2015, Dylan Betances, who I've basically spent my whole big league career with, Michael Wacha, who I was with the Cardinals with. Like, I know guys in the clubhouse, and it was great to see them again. It's great to hang out with them again. But just meeting Pete Alonso, Nimmo, all these guys, Ramos, they're just great, and it was really a pleasure to be in that clubhouse. Brody Van Wagenen, the GM, and Luis Rojas were great. The pitching coaches, they actually have two, which is crazy because I've never heard that. They have a pitching coach, an assistant pitching coach, and then a bullpen coach. Oh. But it's great. It's really great, actually. I've never heard of that. But it's great. I've talked to both of them a lot. And like we're just staying ready. I send them videos of things that I want to ask them about or to bounce stuff off of them. But it's weird. Like, we've never been in this situation before, ever. Like, so we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. Like, we don't know what to do. So we're just trying to stay ready.
So you mentioned that that one reported plan that I think came out last week about like the 10-team divisions. But what did you think about that one plan about like the Arizona bubble, where like they have all the teams just playing there? Like, how do you feel about it? Like, what have you been hearing like from other players about that specific like option?
I haven't heard much about it. Honestly, I feel like once this whole 10 like East, Central, West thing came out, I feel like that kind of took over as the thing that makes the most sense. I don't understand how they could do the Arizona thing, and this is me just spitballing because I don't really know a lot. Because there's a certain. What'd you say? Nobody does, right? Like, yeah. The thing that stands out to me about the Arizona thing is they're going to have to play 2 to 3 games a day at each stadium. So there's no way that, just being in the big leagues for so long, there's no way you can take all of the Mets stuff, all the Mets training staff, all the Mets strength stuff, all the Mets coaches stuff, move it out, clean it, and then move the next team in to play a game. Let's say it's at the first game's at noon, to play a game at 5. Like, it's just way too many moving parts for it to work. But I don't even know if they're worried about that. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to give you a better answer, but to me, that sounds like a lot of moving parts to play in Arizona.
You mentioned it too, and you and I texted about it a little bit too, and you're kind of joking about it. But there's also not just a proposal for the major league teams, but the minor league baseball franchises, and how they're going to do whatever. They mentioned possibly like, everyone stays at the spring training facility if you don't break camp with the club, even though they'll have expanded rosters, which means additional numbers. If you're someone that's like,
we'll have expanded rosters. Nothing's set in stone right now. I mean, let's touch on the expanded roster, then come back, because I have a good things to talk about that. We've never been in this situation before, right? We've never ramped up, got to spring training, ramped up again, and then shut it down to ramp up again.
Right.
And they're talking about playing more games, double headers, to fit in the schedule, which everybody's on board with, I think. Which it makes sense. We want to play as many games as possible, play playoffs. Like, we want it to be as much of a normal season as possible. I think the players and the owners could agree on that. But that said, you can't have – I mean, off days are far and few between in the big leagues or in professional baseball at all already. And if you're going to take out a couple off days and add double headers, and not to mention now it's a weird schedule – now we might be playing 2 games in Miami, then flying up to Boston to play 5. We don't know what the schedule is going to look like. So that's less downtime, more travel, less sleep. You can't ask more 25-man, 26-man roster to do that. That's having DeGrom pitch twice a week for months. Like, you can't do that. So you have to expand the roster. You have to expand it almost more than people are talking about. Like 32, I think, is the minimum. Like, you get another starter in there to make it 6 or 7, and then you add a couple bullpens. The thing is the arms. Like, position players play more, but you can't add that much stress to arms. Like, you might see a big spike in injury. Like, so you need to carry that many more.
That's my question. What do you think that the organizations can do to protect your arms? And what do you think would be a fair number of, like, say, additional arm? Like, would they have to almost say, like, you can not even go roster management?
And there goes Spence again.
Kevin, get better Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Basically, I think what's happening. Yeah.
Let's wait for him.
There was just the idea of, like, what do you think is the acceptable amount of arms to add?
I think whatever it is, you need to try to keep the normal workload of a pitcher the same, whatever that may be. So, like, DeGrom, there's 7 games. We usually have 1 off day a week, maybe 1 every 2 weeks. So DeGrom going every 5 days. If we don't have an off day for 14 days, he might throw 3 times or 2 times in that time. So you just need to keep it that way. So, like, if we're going to play 8 games in a week, he needs to only throw once that week. So if there's that might be a 5 to a 6 to 8 man rotation. I think. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Like, DeGrom is great. He does what he needs to do. So he might be able to throw twice a week for a couple months. You never know. But why risk it? Right. So, and for me as a reliever, in a 162 game season, I usually throw 60 times. So once every 2 to 3 days, I'm throwing. So if you can keep the same work, that's what they need to figure out. Keep the same workload while playing more games in a shorter amount of time. So I don't know what that is. And then the position players, like, you can't have Ramos catching 8 games a week. So maybe you take three catchers, and maybe you take, it's going to add up, like 35 maybe. I mean, 30, 32, like, that's what I've been hearing, 30, 32.
Right.
But if you only have 32, that's only at 6 people? Maybe 1 starter, maybe 2 bullpen guys, maybe 2 players. Like, I don't know if that's enough. But who does know? We've never been in this situation before.
And you know what? That's definitely the common theme here is just nobody knows because we've never been in this situation before ever. You mentioned earlier you saw a little bit of the KBO. We had fellow Vegas boy on here, Nick Kingham, on last week. What you think of the KBO? What do you think of those bat flips?
It's actually just great to watch baseball again. Yes, I watched I think the 2002 World Series today, like Game 5, just randomly. It's just good to see baseball again. It's good to, especially still playing. I'm so glad I get to watch, just because I watched what I would see what they do and just see the different results of that stuff. I was talking to Amir Garrett the other day because he watched Kingham's debut as well, and he was like, "Man, they don't swing at anything. Like, they don't chase. I feel like it's like a striker all the time. Like, they're not really worried about home runs. They're in Japan. Like, I don't think they're really worried about home runs as much. They're worried about getting on base. They're more of like the small ball. They don't want to strike out. They don't have guys that I strike out 200 times a year, but I hit 40 home runs. Right. Like, that's not there yet, and I don't know if it'll ever be there because that's not really how they do things. But it was good. It was good to watch. I didn't know anybody that was playing, but I still watched it. It was great.
If you're looking for recommendations, the 2005 World Series is very nice to watch. Very nice to watch. It's a
Not
pitching
so much
clinic.
The 2006 World Series.
It's a pitching clinic in 2005. So one of the other things that I've been seeing on other major leaguers' Instagrams, and a lot of videos like yourself, and I think that's really beneficial to, like Fitz was mentioning earlier, and I'm sure he's going to get to it, just developing players to see what pros are doing, like with the overlay, and to see the pitch discrepancies. I saw a couple of your colleagues in the major leagues talk about working on new pitches. Is there any new tricks up your sleeves there, or anything else you've been working on?
So if I was a starter, it would be different. So as a reliever, you really only have 2 pitches. A lot of guys come out only. I mean, there's more. I mean, familiar feels like 5 pitches, but like to be successful in one inning of work, you only need to fool them once. You don't see them 2-3 times. So
that's a good point.
for me, it's just making the things I have now better. I need to be more consistent with my splitter. I need to be more consistent with the location of my fastball. Because I mean, you can see it on the overlay on my Instagram. The two balls out of my hand stay pretty on the same plane until about 10 feet, and then they drop off. So all I need to do is for 3 or 4 batters to trick them. It's not like I see Mike Trout 3 times and he's seen me throw 7 splitters already.
Thank God.
Yeah. So for me, it's just, I mean, consistency is this game in a nutshell. You need to be consistent. I mean, the best players are consistent. Mike Trout hits over 300 every year. He does the same things every year. He's very consistent. DeGrom is the same way. Mm-hmm. So that's location of my fastball, and really just throwing my splitter down in the zone, and that's really all I can do. I mean, over the years I messed with like cutters and stuff like that. But that's my biggest struggle, and that's my biggest thing, and that's why baseball is so hard. I've been throwing a splitter since 2009, so 11 years now, and I still don't know where it's going. Like, and I consider myself an athlete. Fiddler can back me up on this, but like, that's why baseball is so hard, is because you release the ball here or you release the ball here, that's a foot difference. And with these new balls and just everything changing, and now the quarantine, like, consistency is the biggest thing that I can talk about. I've been working on a slider for like 2-3 years, and it's getting better, but it's nowhere near like my best pitch is my fastball. Second best is my splitter. It's nowhere near as good as those. I'm sending through the video now, slider. But it is a good pitch to have in my back pocket, because where I find where I struggle is whoever I'm facing. I throw a fastball, just misses ball one. I'm like, okay. I don't have a fastball. I throw 91, 94 on a good day. Mm-hmm. So I don't have that fastball that you can just – I'm not Chapman. I can just throw fastballs right down the middle, and they probably won't hit it. So I have to actually pitch a little bit. So let's say I miss with a fastball. I can either go back with the fastball, but the hitter's probably looking for that, or I can try to throw a splitter. But my splitter is not a pitch that you throw in the zone. My splitter does not do the same thing when I throw it in the zone as to the bottom of the zone. So I can throw a splitter, which would be great, but if he doesn't swing, now I'm too low. Mm-hmm. So my slider is basically just a thing to steal a strike. And I did it a lot this spring, actually, is I would throw a fastball, strike one, backdoor slider, strike two, and then I could do whatever I want. And it actually worked really well. I think my second to last outing, I did the exact same sequence 3 times in a row. I went fastball, strike one, backdoor slider, strike two, splitter, strike three. The first guy nubbed it back to me for an out. The next guy struck out. The next guy struck out. So like on a great day, that works. But my slider is just another pitch to kind of steal a strike. I'll throw it to lefties more. I throw to righties more backdoors to kind of steal a strike. To lefties, it's another weapon to get off my fastball and splitter. Because if they know the hitter knows in their head that he has a third pitch and he might use it, it just throws them off. Because if they're like, oh, I'm just going to sit fastball, spit on splitters. Mm-hmm. It's 50%. Like you could swing 4 times, and 2 of the 4 times you're going to get a fastball. Right. So just having that to kind of throw them off. And now I threw a fastball. I threw a backdoor slider. Now what can I do? I can go fastball in. I can go fastball up. I can dot a fastball down and away. I can throw a splitter down. I can throw a back foot slider. Like you can do whatever now. So that's what I'm trying to work on is just consistency of my 3 pitches. I'm not trying to add anything. Yeah, could I add a cutter? I think my cutter's pretty decent, but what would it really do for me?
If the Mets are in the market, for a 4th pitching coach, I throw one hell of an ephus pitch. I've been watching the KBO. I think I got it down. If you need another pitching coach on the Mets, throw me on the payroll, and we'll just float it.
The sad part is it's usually when someone's throwing down number one that his ephus comes out. So that's but you said something that's actually pretty incredible, man, is that you have one job and you spend perhaps 7 innings thinking about it, marinating on it, preparing yourselves. And then as a reliever, you are sent out there at sometimes just to beat one guy. And so, like you said, stealing strike 2 is one of the most important things that you can do, because
or even stealing strike 1. You come in with bases loaded and you can just pop that strike in. I could throw 4 splitters in a row. He's probably going to swing at 2 of them, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you got one job, get maybe one guy out, but it depends on obviously the circumstance. But you guys have to be that mentally prepared that you're having to pick who your duel is going to be with. Am I going to see so-and-so tonight in this situation? How do I beat them this time? Especially if they're interdivision. Now, if you see them this year with the new league alignment, you're going to see kind of newer people, but you might actually recognize some friends from back in, with the Yankees did the Braves go east or did they go central? No, they went central.
No,
they did.
Yeah.
Really?
And that 3 division.
I don't know anybody on the Braves anymore. Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know anybody on the Braves like Freddie Freeman anymore. So,
did you have to incredibly keep yourself ready and fluid for those types of things?
So you're tapping in my whole mindset of pitching now, because, like you said, I've pitched in the first inning. I was in Fenway facing David Ortiz, Bogarts, and Mookie Betts in the first inning because that. Now you're tapping into my whole mental side of just pitching in general. Is it doesn't matter who's up. It doesn't matter what inning it is. It doesn't matter who's on base. It doesn't matter how many outs it are. You have to focus on making your best pitch every pitch, no matter what happens.
Yes.
If I'm facing some Joe Schmo I've never even heard of that just got called up from AAA, or Mike Trout, I'm trying to dot that fastball down and away and throw that splitter in the dirt, getting ahead. That's all that matters. So it just simplifies it for me. I mean, some people might be different, but that's why scouting reports, I don't really use them. And I think we touched on this last time I was on the show, but of course, located sliders are good to everyone, So if I locate my fastball and throw my splitter down, I'm going to be fine. If I leave my fastball over the middle, it's going to get hit. If I hang a splitter, it's going to get hit. So all of that is just white noise to me. All I need to focus on for me is making my pitches as best as I can every pitch. No matter what, if that's 1 hitter or 3 innings for me. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my answer to you, Fitz.
It's one duel at a time, right? One duel at a time. You'll worry about the next duel when the next duel comes. It might be one guy, exactly. The next guy. Okay.
It might be the next day. It might be the next week. You never know. It might be David Ortiz. Obviously, David Ortiz is retired, but it might be Mike Trout. It might be some guy from AAA just called up. It doesn't matter. You need to. They're all in the big leagues. They're all good. So it doesn't matter. That's what I said.
I forgot. Well, you struck out Ryan Howard in your first appearance, right? It was Ryan Howard.
Yeah, that was
Ortiz, but you beat Ortiz too, didn't you? Get Ortiz out?
No, I'm going to say this for the first time on public record. I hated facing Ortiz, and I basically walked him every time he came up.
Howard,
he did hit a slider down and away off the right field wall at Yankee Stadium for a single. I think he's 1 for 2 off me with a single, and I probably faced him 12 times.
Well, Chasen, who do you dominate, or who have you dominated? Who's been the opposite of that?
Who you got a good run against?
Shane Victorino.
Who?
Sorry.
Who?
Shane Victorino.
Oh.
Because he came out and talked to you guys when you were seniors.
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm trying to just think who we faced a lot that I've done well against. It would have to be in the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've done well against Kiermaier with the Rays. Nobody really stands out if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's good because I don't want to get that in my head. If I'm being honest, I don't want to be I dominate this guy. Let me just throw fastballs right down the middle, or break my focus. But there are teams that have my number. Like the White Sox, I can't get out to save my life. Even in the minor leagues, like they had Trace Thompson. They had
Oh no.
Trace Thompson in the minor leagues was good.
Yeah, he was. That's fair. He was.
Oh, what was that guy's name? He was my nemesis from low A to triple A.
What position?
His first baseman. I think his last name was Black. Anyways, he was like the best hitter I've ever seen, and he never made it to the big leagues. He had like 280 to 300 every year with like 20 bombs.
Just couldn't cut it in the show.
Well, I don't think he ever got called up.
Yeah, he's behind Jose Abreu, who's the.
Dan Black. I found it. Dan Black, best hitter ever. I'm pulling up his stats right now.
Not
2015 in Chattanooga hit 324. 2015 he hit 3. Oh wait, that's 60. 220 or 263, 290, 315, 286. This dude raked, and he was a switch hitter, I believe.
What was he?
And even in my best year, 2014, when I got called up, I was dealing. I hadn't walked anybody in like 2 months. I was getting close to like 100 strikeouts. I think I had 76 that year in like 40-something innings before I got called up. And it didn't matter. He hit a bomb off me. Trace Thompson came up, hit a double off the center field wall.
Oh, shit, Marcus Seaman was on that team too.
Yeah, I came up playing him too. Yeah, but the White Sox, even in 2015, when I had like a 1-6 going into September, I gave up 3 runs. We were beating the White Sox by a bunch, and they came in like, "Hey, you're just gonna get inning work. You haven't thrown in a couple of days." I came in, I think base hit Homer, and I gave up 3 runs, got like 1 out, and got pulled. And I was like, "This is great." And as a reliever, that's why relieving is so stressful. Like, yeah, I was doing great, but giving up 3 runs without getting an out or 1 out takes you a month. Yeah,
you're chasing the dragon. You're chasing the unicorn or whatever. That's You're one bad outing.
Right, like that's why I envy starters so much. I think it's harder to start, but like you go out in the first inning, give up 3 runs. You can technically go 6 innings and give up 3 runs, and you're great. So that's why like you might have a bad first outing or whatever, or first inning, but like you can help it a little bit. Relieving, it's like you have a bad day. You're chasing it for 2 months, trying to get it back down to where it was. Especially early in the season, like it's so stressful.
Yeah, Fitz,
so stressful.
A bunch of times.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like it's an unfair way to judge relievers too, because
that's why
look at your appearances on a appearance by appearance basis.
That's why exit velocity and stuff like that is becoming such a big thing for relievers, because like you can really go out and. Well, now the 3 batter rule, it might not happen this year, but it's going to happen. The minimum 3 batter rule. Mm-hmm. You can go out there, have a tough like 9-pitch at bat and walk a guy, which isn't a bad thing. Like that's a tough at bat. Good for him. Good for like you made some pitches, like, and then maybe give up a single and a homer and you get taken out. And now it's like that's a bad day, but that's a bad day for a starter. That's a real bad day for a reliever. Like in 2016. I had a rough year, but I gave up. I was tipping my pitches, and the Blue Jays knew it.
Ooh.
And I gave up 4 runs early April, I think, or early May maybe. I gave up 3 runs with getting 1 out, and then like in July, I gave up 4 runs and getting 1 out. So I gave up 7 earned runs, 2/3 of an inning against the Blue Jays alone in 2016. And if you take those 2 games away, 2 outs, you take those 2 outs away, I have a 2.9 that year instead of like a 5.2.
Damn.
So like, did I really have a bad year? Numbers, yes. But you take away 2 outs of I think I threw like 32 innings that year. You take away 2 outs, I have a 2.9. Like, it's hard to judge.
Right.
Were they banging any trash cans?
No, I was tipping my splitter.
Showing them your cards. That's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Playing poker backwards.
I can't really remember what I was doing, but we finally figured it out. In my last outing, I faced I think I faced Bautista, Donaldson, and Devin Travis. And I struck out Bautista. I switched something up, which I guess worked. Because I had caught on to it. Because I was like, the Blue Jays are just killing me. Like, they're killing me. And I think it was like late September. I switched something up against them. And I struck out Bautista. Donaldson, like, had a weak ground ball, and I struck out Devin Travis. I remember, like, screaming into my glove because obviously I'm just so frustrated because obviously I was literally trying my hardest. Who said it? Alex Wood, I think. It was like, I would much rather face a guy on steroids than a guy that knows what's coming, like from the whole Astros thing.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, especially me as a 2-pitch pitcher,
right?
You know, when I'm throwing a splitter, it's BP up there. You know, it's BP. So, and analytics and video and all that is just making it so much harder on pitching.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember what the original question was, but
it's all right. So just so you know, because I'm the type of guy that like stuff like this will bother me until I look it up. Dan Black is currently playing for the Diablos Rojos del Mexico.
Mexico?
Yep.
Did he? I heard he went to like Korea or something, but big dude.
Yeah, he's in Mexico. He's doing shit. In 2016, he hit 341 with 12 bombs.
And they only play like 60 games there, so that's 30, 40 homers. And yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but I always got to look that stuff up, man.
I'm just saying, they killed me.
Well, I'm sure there's a million stories, like, and that's interesting. Like, I'm a diehard White Sox fan, been a White Sox fan my entire life. Never even heard of Dan Black. Never. And then, like, you bring this up, and I don't doubt it at all. And it's just like, that's the thing that tells you about minor league baseball, that there's so many talented guys down there, guys that have the goods. But, like, if you look at the years Dan was in the system, he's behind Paul Konerko and Jose Abreu. Like, you're not going anywhere unless they trade you, and they never did. So,
and as a team, why trade a guy that's awesome?
Right.
You know, like, because Jose Abreu can get hurt any game. So, like, but he never did for 2 or 3 years while he was there. So, like, there's some. I mean, obviously, Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He's going to make it to the big leagues no matter what. But there's a lot of guys that maybe never got a shot that could have spent 10 years in the big leagues.
That's wild.
You know, it is crazy. Like, for me, I got called up because Luis Avalon, who was great for the Braves, had a down year, and I had a great year. Like, if it was a year before or a year after, I may have never gotten called to the big leagues and maybe never made it to the big leagues. So,
and I would have seen the entire Soundgarden concert that we had to stay out of to watch your first appearance ever when we watched it at the bar at the Cosmo or at the Planet Hollywood.
Yep. So, like, there's a lot of luck. I'll say this: if you pitch or do long enough, you will get a chance with somebody.
Right.
But some guys, I've seen plenty of guys who were being outperformed by a non-prospect that get called up. So it's just difficult because they have their guys that they see potential in. They have their guys that are just roster fillers, and some guys get called up, some guys don't, and it's brutal. It's brutal because all of the people, minor leagues, big leagues, college ball, has spent their entire lives to get where they are, working all day, like especially in Las Vegas where it's warm enough to play. We play all year round just to hopefully get drafted. I remember Jose Barajas. Do you remember that name, Fitz?
His velocity went down like 10 miles an hour every year?
But he was just like, give me a plane ticket. I'll pay for my plane ticket to go play. You know, like, these guys work their entire – and he's still playing. He's playing in Mexico. Like,
I did not know that. Yeah, he lost his stuff because he threw 75 breaking balls in one game. That was his problem. It put him. He got healthy again eventually.
My elbow hurt just thinking.
I'm just saying, like, people that never even get drafted work their entire lives to even get a chance to play pro ball. You know, so like,
some guys will do it for free. Like, again, I have a Yodai Yakamura. You remember Yodai from Palo that he caught you when you threw your pens. Yodai's playing. He plays for Japanese. He's Japanese league. He's
in the minor leagues or the big leagues.
I have no idea what construct it is. He's actually sitting here waiting to go back.
Like he's
happy. He misses it. He wants it.
Yeah, it's people don't realize how brutal it is. Like, yeah, there's some great things when you make to the big leagues, like the pay and all that stuff, and the fame or whatever you want to call it. But it's brutal to get there. I remember on draft day, I was supposed to go. My agent said I'd go 4th to 6th round, and we were in the 10th round. I hadn't gotten drafted yet. I'm just like, well, guess I'm going to UNLV. Like, and then obviously I got drafted and everything worked out. But like for 90%, 98% of people, it doesn't work out, and they did everything that I did. You know.
FYI for you listeners that listened to last week's episode, that's the class of 2010 that I was talking about. That may have been the last great crop overall. 19 kids drafted out of Vegas in one draft, and that was Chasen.
Well, just think about how many people got drafted in the like six years, from like Colby's senior year to Gallo's senior year,
which is 2011, I think, right? 2011.
Yeah, probably. So 2006 to 2011.
Joey Gallo is my hero because of how good he is in MLB The Show.
Didn't he just lose to Snell?
He did, but no, I'm saying like his actual character in the game, he's a glitch. He just hits tanks.
Did you watch any of that? Hits tanks. Have you seen it?
It's true. Did you watch any of that? The Players League?
I didn't watch any of it.
You're not a big video game guy?
He plays Fortnite.
I'm a huge Fortnite guy.
Oh, Fortnite.
Halo champion of the world, greatest jump sniper ever.
I played Halo in high school with one of my best friends, Jake, and we were really good. We would ditch school or ditch practice to go play Halo sometimes.
And somehow I was playing with you at the same time.
But I'm weird with video games. I only play one. Like I played Halo, I didn't play anything else, and now I play Fortnite. I don't play anything else. I play a lot of Fortnite now that it's nothing to do. Like even when I do everything I possibly can do every day, it takes up about like an hour and a half. So I wake up, I have breakfast, I listen to a podcast or some music, I stretch, I get ready to throw, I throw. By that time, it's noon, and then I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. So,
what day did you get bored? Like after it got shut down?
So, like I said, we're kind of used to it, me and my wife, because the off season is very similar. Like, yeah, we see less people, but I enjoy my routine. I enjoy waking up. I enjoy making my breakfast. I enjoy playing with the dog. I enjoy listening to a podcast, stretching. Like I enjoy all that. And then once that's done, I have nothing to do. I enjoy playing Fortnite and watching TV for a little bit before we make dinner. Or like I'm a big routine guy. So, I mean, yeah, I'm bored. Like you get bored, but I don't mind it. Like me and my wife have done yoga in the backyard. Like we fill our time.
The dogs look awesome, by the way. I saw those bad boys on your Instagram. Those dogs.
What's that?
You adopted a bunch, didn't you? Like you're like
we had two. We had two, and then we fostered them, and one got adopted by an older gentleman in Anthem, and then we still have the one, which happens to be our favorite, and we're talking about just adopting him ourselves, but it's so hard with our schedule, our lifestyle. You know, like we could leave in 2 weeks and be in Florida for 3 weeks, and then be in New York, and then be in Tampa, and then be in, you know, it's hard, especially when Shannon, she would have to do it all. You know, like we're gone. Even if we're in New York, we're gone half the time. So she would have to either, if she's coming to wherever we're going, she'd have to fly with the dog. She would have to, if she's staying in New York, she'd have to do everything herself. What'd you say?
It's a little dog. You put it in like one of those little carrots, or what is it?
A little Chihuahua.
Yeah. So hey, I got a question for you. By the way, I just watched the Michael Saunders. You threw it actually a good pitch, and he just dipped into it. And on the Toronto Blue Jays game, you actually
knew what was coming.
Good location. Good location. Yeah. Actually, he just kind of
front-footed it. You know what's coming. Yeah.
But when I asked that, like, so this is a Cubs podcast, and I'm going to say this: the Cubs hired David Ross as their new manager. He hasn't coached the game yet, for real. But I got to ask this because when he was hired, there was a lot of people like that were like clamoring and screaming and freaking out for Northwestern grad Joe Girardi. Can you give us some insight into Joe Girardi as a head coach? And did the Cubs miss out by going with David Ross instead of Girardi? Or did they go with someone that's maybe a little more suited for the loose mentality that maybe the Cubs group has, but still has the accountability? Whereas Girardi, I know, is a hard ass.
So you would think. So when I got traded to New York, that's one of the first things I thought about. Because when you see Girardi on TV, you're like, this dude's like a military family, like hard guy, mean guy, like strictly business. And you meet him in person.
It's the veiny forearms.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
And when you meet him in person, he's like the nicest, family-oriented guy you've ever met. So I really enjoyed playing for Joe. And I've talked to David a lot. But I can't say because Joe Girardi has been managing for 10 years now, and David Ross is a new manager.
Yep.
They both have great baseball knowledge. So, I mean, I don't see David Ross being a bad manager. I mean, he was, and I feel like catchers are very well diverse in the baseball world. Like as a pitcher, I only know pitching. As a position player, you only really know hitting, and like a catcher should know both, right? A catcher should know how to pitch and call a game and see what the pitcher's doing wrong. Like any catcher I've had, Yachty, Brian McCann, Wilson Ramos, they all can tell you what you're doing wrong while you're out there. It's a lot easier to see it than actually correct it. But like, hey, you're pulling off your fastball, you're pulling off so your slider's flat. So it's all that stuff. So I think catchers are great managers because they see the whole game for 162 games. I can't say missed out because I don't know how Ross is going to be. But like I said, I love playing for Joe. I think he was a good manager. He's more old school, which I am too. I feel like Fitz is as well. So I like Joe. He was supposed to be the USA coach for the USA team, which the USA team reached out to me to play, but as a oh yeah, I don't think I told you this. Yeah, they reached out for me. They wanted me to play on the USA team, and Girardi was going to be the coach. It was just bad timing. I was trying to be a free agent. I was doing the driveline stuff. Like I just wasn't ready to just up and move all that stuff. But I called him and I was like, hey, like, thank you. I don't know if you had anything to do with the picking process or anything like that. I was like, just want to let you know, like, I would love to play for you again, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I actually had to back out of the USA team manager. He couldn't tell me why, but it was obvious why. And then the Phillies were one of the first teams to reach out to me while I was a free agent. So I have nothing but good things to say about Joe.
Yeah, it sounds like you made an impression on him.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah. And I have nothing bad to say about David Ross either. So I think the Cubs did a fine job. So did the Phillies.
I think you're right about the catchers too. They see everything. They're the badasses. They're the hard asses. Unless it's Teddy Merritt or Jake Danifel getting bit by a bug. Or
Teddy Merritt. I saw him the other day, or probably like 2 months ago. Where did I see him at?
Did you see his neck? Because it's gone.
Okay.
You're talking about Jake, right? Or are you talking about?
Oh no, I'm talking about Teddy. But yeah,
I'm talking about Jake Danifel. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Jake lives back in Vegas now.
Teddy used to yell every time Chris would step to the plate. Chris Bryant would step in the box, and Teddy would go, "Oh no, it's Chris!" Like yelling every time. So like every time that Chris steps in the box, I hear Teddy's head, like voice. And Teddy's from Chicago, ironically enough. His dad, big old Chicago Italian dude. And
we used to call his dad Teddy Bear.
Were you there when Teddy got punched in the face by Kyle Hutchins, and we made Teddy run laps for it? He was running his mouth as a freshman.
So he ran his mouth, got punched in the face. You made him run laps?
Yeah, we made the kid while bleeding out of his mouth. Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Now, actually, he went out and just shagged fly balls for BP. But
I love it.
Teddy on some laps. He got popped. Like Kyle Hutchins popped him. Like he's like, shut up, freshman. I'm like, oh. Hey,
wasn't Kyle Hutchins a year older than him?
Yeah, it was. I think Kyle was only a sophomore. Kyle's in Marine. He's fine.
Yeah. He was always on that path.
Freshman. But you get these guys though, like, and that's a good thing. Is Teddy is a good example?
Teddy was a good catcher.
He became a great catcher and a great leader.
He became a great catcher. He threw out like 80% of the runners or something like that. It was insane.
Oh shit!
He learned the game.
Yeah, it was
That's
insane.
what catchers do. They watch the game. They see more than we see because they get to see the entire rest of the
They're
eights.
involved in all of it.
And that's what makes a catcher great is they see
They're
the
involved
game.
in the strategy of the defense, and then they're also involved in the strategy of an offense.
Mm-hmm.
They're really the only position on the field that really taps into both sides. So
White Sox got a good one too, by the way. Grandal.
Yep. Pretty
the
cool.
White Sox made some moves this year, this offseason.
Yeah, and it would have been cool if they could have played. Same thing that happened last time. We had a great team, and then there was the strike when Frank Thomas should have won the MVP, and there was a strike. We make all these moves.
They won the World Series, man.
Finally spend all this money, and now there's a goddamn pandemic, and we can't see Luis Robert play center field. And
Tough time.
He's gonna be good. Now, see, and that sound right there is one of us filling up a glass of whiskey or tequila. Was that you, Chasen, or was that you, Zoe? I can't tell.
It's Coke.
I think Aldo is drinking. I think Aldo's drinking Yoo-hoo?
I got the Woodford Reserve, the private Zoe stock today.
Have you guys Tomo got it for me for his best man. What was it called? The Jack something.
Frank Sinatra?
No, Jack.
Again, Chicago fans, Tomo Delp is Christopher Bryant's brother-in-law.
AKA one of my best friends.
AKA the starting shortstop.
He had a good career too. Gosh, like even people that didn't even get drafted. Like Tomo went to CSN, made a spot at CSN, went to Maryland.
Yep. They actually
I remember.
Although
Gentleman's Jack. Gentleman's Jack is what it's called. I really enjoy that. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Although who was it with the was it the Sun or was it the Sun Times or was it the Tribune that like wrote the whole story about how Chris took Tomo's job and then married his sister? Who was that? I wrote a story. I'm like, God damn.
Seriously wrote that as like a story.
Someone's like, yeah, no, he was a third baseman.
That's a little
Tomo's plays short.
Aggressive though, yeah.
That's a little aggressive. Poor Tomo.
Yeah, that couldn't be the exact opposite of what happened. That's why media is so tough. Because Chris and Tomo are like best friends now. They get along so well. Chris is such a great guy. Tomo's such a great guy. Chris decided to marry Jess. Jess said, yeah, like it's like the perfect thing, and the media just switched it to be like, Chris stole everything.
And that's
Chris
why
married into a fantastic athlete family too. Like all of them were good at sports. Mm-hmm. Jess was the only one that didn't play sports. Joyce was one of the best softball players in the state. She was fantastic. Yeah. She married Hammer Don't Hurt Him.
And that's why all the players should just come on podcasts where they can be honest and tell their side of the shit instead of people making up false narratives. See, just fix baseball again. Bam. That's what we do here.
It's tough.
Who is your least favorite reporter in New York?
Although you're going to get in trouble.
I'm not going to say. I do have one.
You don't have to name names. You can just like.
No, I do have one. But honestly, the media in New York is fine. I mean, there's rarely a media person that tries to get you to mess up. Because if they do, the person, Jason Zillow was the guy for the Yankees. I'm not really sure what his title is, but he's the in-between between the media and the players. They would be run out of the stadium so fast. You wouldn't want to try to ask stupid questions to, like, I'm sure the guy that asked Bryce if he's going to go drink when he wasn't 21 yet, that guy probably isn't doing much with Bryce anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just not worth it for the media to like, players are going to slip up. Players in all sports slip up a lot.
Right. You're a human being.
So they don't need to entice you to do that. But honestly, I think I said it last time on the podcast, I enjoy talking to the media because it makes you can't be emotional when you talk to the media because you're going to say something stupid. So it makes you take the emotion out of it and look at your outing from a different angle. So I enjoy talking to him because it's like almost like an unbiased opinion of how my outing actually went. Like, oh, I was just really bad today. Like I couldn't locate anything. Or, hey, I threw actually pretty decent and it was just bad luck. Or, hey, it just went my way today. Like that's what baseball is. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's exactly what baseball is. You throw a fastball down and away 10 times, get 3 swing and misses, 3 ground balls, 2 homers, and a double. Like, that's why baseball is so frustrating.
I guess I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So it goes back to my mental side of pitching is just try to do your best every time. I know that sounds so simple, but when you have 50,000 fans screaming at you with the best hitter in baseball up, it makes it difficult. So
you've heard me say this before. Augie Garridos, pitch by pitch.
Yeah.
That's that whole beginner's mind crap that I threw at you guys that you guys laughed at me in the weight room for.
It was true. But to answer your question, I don't really have anybody I want to talk poorly about in the media. I think they're all very, like, from what I've seen through, I didn't really get to experience with the Braves very much, but with the Yankees, with the Cardinals, a little bit with the Mets. It's been good. I mean, the media, I truly believe sports media or the people I've been around aren't trying to destroy your career by getting a story, which is very, very nice to think about, honestly. Because you see a lot of stuff.
You say this too, that they're not athletes. Most sports writers are former English experts. Real league softball. So your MLB The Show guy with the mutton chops does not count as a real athlete, although that dude's fucking cool. But the fact is, most of these guys were guys that went to college to learn how to be writers, and they weren't athletes. And you get to get their input of someone that hasn't been between the lines. And that, I think, and what you're saying too, is that it's a great way to get kind of bounce some feedback too. You kind of, if they're feeling one way, that means that some other fat, out of shape dudes probably thinking the same kind of thing in Hobunk, Idaho. Like, so it gives you like insight, right? Or do you,
it's also a great, like you said, it's getting on the podcast. Like, it's a great way to express how you think the outing went. Like, if you're just like, hey, I didn't have it today, that's acceptable.
Yes.
Mike Trout goes 0 for 4. Like, people just have bad games.
Does he really?
I'm pretty sure he's gone 0 for 4 before.
Fake news.
But it's a great way to explain to the fans, like, hey, I might have blown this game, but this is the reason why. Like, hey, like, maybe my shoulder was feeling bad. Maybe I did make a good pitch and they just got it that day. Or maybe, hey, like, the game sped up on me. Like, that happens a lot. Like, it's a good way to express what you think, your side of the story to. And I can tell
you, Chasen, from a fan's point of view, someone on the other side, we know right away when someone's just doing the bullshit. We left it all out on the field today. It was a good effort by both teams. We got to be better next week. You know when you're going to do that, and I get doing that because I know that's safe and that's what you got to do. But when players are honest and real with you, like you just mentioned, when you say, like, I just didn't have it today, but I can be better at this, I'm going to get it now. Fans appreciate that wholeheartedly. And, it's great to hear, a player like yourself say that because it's good to know.
Self-analysis.
What would you say?
Self-analysis. You should always self-analyze every time.
There are questions that you get asked that you do kind of need generic answers to. And I can't think of an example because I just can't right now. But, like, there's some questions you shouldn't answer that the media does. Not in a bad way. It's just like you just shouldn't answer them. So the generic answers, like, oh, why did you do this to this guy? Like, you can't explain your mindset going. It's like, hey, I picked the wrong pitch, or it's just there's some answers that you just don't you can't say no comment because that makes you look guilty. So or it makes you look like you've done something wrong. So there are times that you should do some generic answers to questions, but
when you're pissed.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I said, taking the emotion out of it. If you can't take the emotion out of it, just come up with some some bull that'll get you to the next question.
And that's the key to media dealing is shower shoes, cliches, quote, music songs, and get the fuck out of the locker room so you can go home and scream into a pillow at night.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the fake act like someone in the back of the room just said something to you. Be like, oh, that's a great question. Yo, what's up, Pete? Gotta go, guys. Gotta go. And then that works all the time. But
Chasen, where are you? How'd you get here?
So
yeah, people like me can't do that. Like we don't have that status to be like, I'm not talking to media today.
Right.
You know, like some people can, and that's fine. But if you don't talk to him today after the game, you're gonna talk to him tomorrow. So if you're that mad where you don't want to talk to him today, fine. They'll get you tomorrow because they're there every day. They're there no matter what.
They're not going
like their lives depend on it. So
all right. Well, we're a little over the hour we usually, but it was a good conversation, you know. But Chasen, again, we really, really appreciate you coming on and, you know, pulling back the curtain a little bit to what it's like for being a player during this crazy time. And I think the message that nobody knows what's going, like, this is new to everyone. Baseball players, idiots that are sitting in his wife's makeup room, just everybody. This is new to everybody. Yeah, this is her room. You see that little thing? That thing took me like 4 hours.
Joe's got a baby coming
to put together. Yeah, and I got a baby coming.
It's a baby room.
Yep, thank you. But no, we really appreciate it. Everybody, you know, we will tweet out Chasen your Instagram handle. You're putting up some great videos there for any up and coming players or people that are just trying to get better at the game. Those are great to watch. And we thank you so much for your time. And, you know, like we told Kingham last week with the KBO, we'll be watching, man. We'll be rooting for you. You got 3 huge fans here. And thank you, man. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, man.
All right. And that's it for this week's Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. Everybody, make sure you tune in next week. Hopefully we'll be talking about spring training, get Chasen's ass back to work. And, that's
please give me back to work.
For Chasen, Aldo, K-Fids, I'm Zoe, and we'll talk to you guys next week. See you, everybody.
Fids, Tomo has baby